Conscious politics is non-reactive, non-judgmental, non-demonizing, non-moralizing, non-shaming, and non-blaming. It takes radical responsibility for oneself and for one's society. Conscious politics does not turn politics into an identity battle. You don't create this identity of being a conservative or a liberal, because conscious politics is too conscious for that. It sees that all identities are limited and that your true identity is totally universal and all-inclusive. It's about not self-dealing. A lot of people go into politics to self-deal. That's unconscious politics. Conscious politics is also willing to make some personal compromises or sacrifices. So, for example, if you're wealthy and rich, conscious politics means that you recognize that, I have it really good. I've benefited from the system. That doesn't mean that I now squeeze the system for even a little bit more to get all the tax breaks I can. It means that, no, actually, I have to be honest and I have to say that, you know what? I've had some unfair advantages in this economy. And that really, I should be paying more taxes, not less. And I'm willing to make that sacrifice. Because for me, really, what's more important than getting a little bit more money, 5 or 10% more of my money, is for all of society to prosper and for all other human beings to be able to have all the luxury and opportunities and freedoms that I have with my millions of dollars. That's what it means not to self-deal and what it means to make sacrifices. It's not just about your personal bottom line or what you personally need. Oftentimes, you're going to have to vote for a politician who may not offer all the juicy stuff that you want, but which is going to make society more just and equal for other people. And that's especially true if you've reached a high point in your own personal life. At a certain point in your life, you have so much of everything that you've ever wanted that you don't need any more. And you have to know when to say, okay, enough is enough. I've gotten everything I want. At this point, if I keep trying to get more for myself, this is actually going to become pathological. Now my life needs to be about helping others to experience the success that I've been able to experience. Conscious politics appreciates the positive functions of government. This is very important. If you can't appreciate all the good stuff that government does for you and all you think of is how evil and wrong government is and how government enslaves you and steals your money, you can't possibly have a healthy attitude towards government or towards society. Because under such a belief, are you going to educate yourself about government? Are you going to look at policy proposals that could possibly improve things in government? No, all you want to do is just tear it down. And this doesn't work. And you're not going to win that battle. You're not going to tear government down because government does too many useful functions. So you're going to be wasting your time if you're going to go down that road. We got to keep adding towards what we've already built. You have to appreciate it. It's taken many thousands of years to build up this technology of government that we have today. Be careful about trying to rip it all down, thinking that you're going to get something better. Chances are you're going to get something worse. It's almost like an ignorant person goes inside their body who doesn't know what the organs do, like the appendix or the liver or the pancreas or something. And then he's just like mucking around in there, some ignorant surgeon, and just like cut stuff out. Like, well, I don't think you need the appendix. Let's just cut that out. Oh, I don't think you need one of your kidneys. Let's just throw it out. It's like, you have to appreciate that Mother Nature has a deep wisdom to it. The same wisdom that went into evolving all of the organs in your body also went into evolving the organs of your society as well. Now, of course, granted, there are a lot of foolish politicians who were getting in the way of that wisdom. But overall, there is a collective wisdom that is baked into government. a collective wisdom in the court system, a collective wisdom in taxation, a collective wisdom in the military, a collective wisdom in welfare programs. They exist for a reason because they solve serious problems that our previous generations had that you don't even know exist as problems because they've already been solved for you by these systems. But if you remove one of these systems, it's as foolish as removing your kidneys, thinking you know better. You have to really study carefully before you go removing something, because there will be unforeseen consequences. For example, in America, when FDR came into office during the Great Depression, and there was the New Deal, and they instituted Social Security. Before Social Security was instituted, a large percentage of the elderly population, some ridiculous number like 25% or 30%, were homeless living on the streets. Why is that? Because when you turn 60 or 70 and you haven't done proper retirement planning and you haven't been saving up, you literally have no more retirement, but also your health goes out. You're not able to work the way you used to when you were young. And then you have no choice but to live on the street. So millions of people were living on the streets. Sometimes libertarians say, well, but Leo, that's their responsibility. Too bad for them, because if they didn't plan their retirement, well, look, they deserve it. They deserve to live on the streets. But look at what you're saying. Look at what you're saying. See, the only way you can hold such a position is when you actually don't care about those people. If that person living on the street was your mother or your child, you wouldn't take that attitude. You would try to help them, and you would be understanding that, it's not easy to plan 30 years ahead and to save for your retirement. That's not something that people naturally want to do. People are poor long-term thinkers and planners. So one of the functions of government is to help people to have pensions and something saved up. They do that for you for your own benefit. Now, of course, ideally, everyone would be responsible enough to be able to do it themselves. But that's a fantasy. In reality, what happens is that if there's no government program to help you do it, millions of people are living on the streets. And then you have to deal with those homeless people on the streets. They're going to be begging you for quarters. How does that make you feel? Probably not very good, especially if there were 10 times more homeless people than there already are. Conscious politics is not neutral. It is aware of false equivalency. It does not just take the middle point of all positions. Sometimes it's bold and it's assertive and it's ready to fight for what is right. Ready to fight for consciousness. Sometimes you have to fight unconsciousness with consciousness. The way that Gandhi did, for example, or the way that Martin Luther King did, or the way that the abolitionists did against slavery, or the women's rights movement, or the gay rights movement. Sometimes you have to fight. Now, of course, ideally, you're not doing it with violence, peacefully, ideally. But even sometimes violence is necessary, because sometimes the unconsciousness and the devilry can just get so out of hand. A good example would be World War II. That would be an example of a justifiable use of violence, because that was a cancer of devilry that was spreading across Europe and even in Asia, and really throughout the whole world. It would have spread if it wasn't put in check. So don't get this idea that, love and consciousness just means that we just be nice. We don't ruffle any feathers. We don't rattle any cages. No, sometimes you have to be bold about it. For example, Gandhi was very bold, but in a peaceful way. Martin Luther King was very bold and assertive, but in a peaceful way. And that's power. That's love. If you want to see what love can do, study the example of Gandhi. Study the example of Martin Luther King. These were two of the best leaders in the last century, which demonstrated the power of love. Moved millions of people. In the case of Gandhi in India, tens and even hundreds of millions of people. That's powerful.